Welcome back to the Cuddy and Govy Show. Govy, I have my book in front of my face here. Left Foot, Right Foot Survival Guide for Business and Life. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. You can get it at Walmart. You can get it everywhere. We sold 27,000 copies already. It's insane. It's blowing up. And we are desperately trying to get on the New York Times bestseller list. It's very hard to do. It's very political. We're finding that out. It's not how many books you sold. It's how tall you are, I guess. And I'm not tall enough. I'm not tall enough to be a New York Times bestseller. And we sent it to everybody. We sent it to Joe Rogan, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld,
Brett Baer.
Brett Baer. We sent it to Michael Smirkanish on CNN. I mean, nobody's called me yet, but I am available to do motivational speaking. We are booking up for that. We're getting a number of those speaking engagements lined up. I'm embarrassed to tell you how much I charge, but that'll be a surprise. Call me and I'll tell you. Anyway, we're back here in beautiful downtown Delray. I'm with my co-host, Govy, and we have not been on the air for 2 weeks because last week, I forget why weren't we here, Govy?
It was holiday. We were podcasting.
It was all, and my kids were still here, so we weren't here last week. So I call Govy every week, and I say, Govy, what are we going to talk about? There's not that much to talk about. And he says, oh, my God, there's so much to talk about. So why don't we just start out with the pending news? This Daniel Penny gets off. He was the subway guy. He choked the guy. He didn't break his neck. He choked him, and he had a GoFundMe. They raised $3-5 million, got the best defense lawyers in America for this guy. And if he didn't have that kind of money, he probably would have had a public defender, and this Alvin Bragg would have sent him to jail for 17 years. But how do you feel about this, Govy? I mean, you're on a subway. You see this guy acting out. He wants to kill everybody on the subway. Are you getting involved?
I don't know if I'm getting involved or not. That's something I would have to...
I'm not getting involved.
First of all, I would be worried about myself in that situation. Where do I go? Rather than worried about the rest of the car. I guess you worry about the rest of the car when there's nowhere for you to go and you have to take care of yourself, which in turn helps take care of the car. What's disturbing about this whole thing is it turned into a racial thing. And when you have Al Sharpton getting up there saying it's racial, and you have the Black Lives Matter getting up and saying it's racial, it's a little frustrating because I'm going to tell you how I looked at it. If you turned it around and it was a deranged white guy coming into the subway and there was a black guy that was an ex-Marine that was sitting there, and the black ex-Marine put a chokehold on this deranged white guy, I would think the guy's a hero. Like, there is no color. The guy's a hero. So,
and there were all sorts of types of people on the subway. It wasn't, another black guy held him down.
Everybody that would be on that car would turn around and say he's a hero, and the guy never would have been charged. If it was turned around and it was a black guy that choked a deranged white guy, it never would have been charged, and he would have been a hero. It got turned around where it was like it's just unacceptable that this guy could sit there and protect the crew. And then when he has to go through this, he's going to go through a lawsuit now. They're going to sue him privately. You have to turn around and say, the guy out of 8.5 million people, he was on the 50 most wanted list. I mean, he was arrested.
The guy he killed.
The guy he killed. He was arrested 42 times. I think it's the city's fault. It's the responsibility of the city and the family.
They're going to sue everybody.
Yeah, how come the family? How come they can't sue the family and say you didn't?
They'll sue everybody.
This guy's going to raise so much money, this guy Penny, that he will be, I'll tell you what, like my goal would be, I would love for the next UFC fight, I would love Donald Trump to walk in with this guy. He would get a standing ovation.
That would be insane. Can you imagine, folks, Donald Trump walking into a UFC fight with Danny Penny?
He would get a standing ovation.
It would be nuts.
Right.
It would be America, man. It would
Matter of fact,
crazy.
Elon Musk would reach into his pocket and just give him a little bit of change, which would be like $4.4 million.
How about that guy? He's worth $440 billion, almost as much as you, Gavi. I mean, it's crazy how much money this guy Elon Musk has.
He laughs at everybody that gambles. He looks at Hunter Biden and said, you spent all this time trying to steal money from Ukraine and China.
Well, he stole a lot, more than $20 million.
Okay, I don't care how much he stole. All I know is Elon Musk says, I just backed one horse.
Right.
One horse, and look at what I made.
So what do you think of that Hunter Biden pardon? What's that going to happen? What's that going to do to Joe Biden for the rest of his life? Will he raise money for his library? Will his legacy be tarnished? I mean...
I don't think it's the pardon that bothers people, Everybody expected the pardon. I think what people are going to realize later on, because not everybody knows the whole dynamics of it, it's going to be the extent of the pardon, the blanket, how much the pardon was. It wasn't like pardon for, and by the way, for the stuff that he was guilty of, found by a jury that he admitted to, he actually pled guilty, it's the 10 years prior. So it's almost like Bidenomics, basically, is Joe Biden takes the U.S. taxpayer dollars, gives it to Ukraine. Ukraine gives money back to Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden gets a pardon from Joe Biden, and the Bidens make money. That's basically what ended up happening. And
Right.
and I think people are going to have a tough time knowing that Hunter Biden,
So a winner is Hunter Biden because he's pardoned for everything he ever did in his life. Loser, Joe Biden, for doing the pardon. And you know who the real loser is? That John Pierre, whatever the fuck
KGP.
Yeah, whatever her name is. Guess what? Grow a set of balls. I mean, your boss, Joe Biden, for how many years made you promise the press in America, looking in the camera, he will never give him a pardon. The day he gave him a pardon, you should have resigned. Do you think she's ever going to get a job on TV?
she'll never be taken seriously again.
Ever.
Where every other, by
You're
the
a
way,
loser.
all the other press secretaries, Jen Psaki, she's on MSNBC.
Yeah.
The other one is on Fox News. All the ones that are on the last five.
KGP, why didn't you quit the next day and just say, Joe, you lost, you're a loser, and you lied to me, I lied to the American public.
By the way, January 6th, after January 6th, a lot of people left
Yeah, Bill
Trump.
Barr. Bill Barr
Yeah, a lot of
left,
people.
yeah.
Didn't Hope Hicks quit?
Hope Hicks quit.
I mean, I think Ivanka Trump quit.
Corey Lewandowski. Yeah, Ivanka Trump did quit.
She quit too.
She moved.
Yeah, so she quit also. So I mean, so she's a loser in this case. I also think that Joe Biden's legacy is going to come back on how many other people have to get pardoned now. Because when you give a blanket for the 10 years, now you're almost admitting like there was stuff that took place. So does he give a pardon to his brother? Does he give a pardon to his sister? Does he give a pardon to Jack Smith? Does he give a pardon to Fannie Willis? Does he give a pardon to Bragg? I mean, all these people were in cahoots with the White House.
How about Merrick Garland? Does he give a pardon to Merrick Garland?
They were. If you investigate them, if you get this Patel, the guy that Trump hired for the FBI, Pash, they're gonna look into it and find out that an Atlanta district attorney was flying up to meet the White House to prosecute Donald Trump.
Well, didn't somebody just come out today and rat and say about Ukraine that Hunter was getting money? Didn't somebody just?
It was an FBI informant. I think he basically kind of lied or something with it, and it might not even have been true. But he got caught in a lie that he said that Hunter got money, even though maybe he didn't, and that came out today.
So while we're on the subject of winners and losers, one of the big winners is this Notre Dame Cathedral. That's absolutely amazing. I mean, I was a builder my whole life. To reconstruct that thing in 5 years, I mean, I don't know how many billions of dollars.
The technology that was used.
Did you see the pictures?
Did you see how they did it, though, with the technology and the computers? It was, I think, a person from Pennsylvania that came up with the whole technology.
I don't even know how you do it. I mean, it's absolutely amazing that you can get the materials and rebuild that and the ceilings and everything that they did. And I watched a little of it. I thought the show or the service or whatever it was spectacular. Really, it was. And did you see Donald Trump there? Melania wasn't on the trip.
But Joe Biden had goo-goo eyes for Donald Trump.
Because he has this new cologne. He has new perfume.
Did you see the commercial he did right after?
It has pheromones in it, Gavi.
Yeah.
It has the pheromones in it that get the girls crazy.
Yeah, but you know what he said right after? He took an ad out and said, and said, even your enemies. Like you with this, and I had a picture of Joe Biden.
I think that, it's my prediction with the pheromones and whatever. I think Ivanka Trump's going to go for Elon Musk.
Oh, would you keep saying...
She is going to go for Elon Musk.
He's not. Elon Musk has 10 kids with so many people.
It doesn't matter. He has $440 billion. She's all about that.
She's happy with Jared.
She ran away for 4 years. She's back. She's going after Elon Musk. Bye, Jared.
She was at the New York Stock Exchange today. She wanted to ring the bell with her dad, but
I know. I think she's going after Elon Musk. And you see, Don Jr., we'll talk gossip, ditched that Kimberly Guilfoyle was 10 years older than him.
You know where Don Jr.'s lucky?
And he went with this hot socialite that, I see her in Palm Beach skirting around for the last couple
he was at
years.
the Honor Roll 2 months ago, and that's when everybody knew.
Yeah, the Honor Bar.
And by the way, the people in Palm Beach, but the people, I'm sorry.
That's not an Honor Bar.
The Honor Bar. But you know what? People in Palm Beach, they knew. It wasn't like he hid it. Like, he was talking to people the whole time when he was...
Well, let me ask you a question, Gav. You're cheating on your wife. He was cheating on his fiancée with her. Or that's what, page 6 of the New York Post. Are you sitting on a booth at the Palm Beach Grill holding somebody's hand if you're...
Well,
why are you doing...
Because they were already broken up at the time. The reason why they couldn't announce the breakup when they did, there's an election to run. If they broke up, they would have turned around the press, who was so against Donald Trump. They would have come up with stories that Don Jr. did this, he did that, and the next thing you know, they would have associated it with Donald Trump himself, and it was a deal made. And then they basically said, which is the greatest thing in the world, this is when Don Jr.'s lucky to have his dad. He said, Dad, I want to be with this new girl who's, by the way, 17 years younger than Kimberly Guilfoyle. And
do you think Kimberly Guilfoyle's good looking?
Well, you're asking. She's 17 years older than the other girl. There's a huge difference there.
But she's with Donald Trump.
No, not
Jr.
now. I think
he's
I think she's.
He could have anybody he wants.
I think she's aging.
She's not great.
She's not great, and I think. And they fought a lot in public, at Mar-a-Lago and other places. That But I think what's so lucky for Don Jr. He said, Dad, I'm not happy with her. What can we do? And Donald Trump said, I'll tell you what I'll do. For the next 4 years, I don't want any aggravation coming. I'm going to make her the ambassador to Greece. I'll ship her to Greece. You won't see her for 4 years. You won't even see her in Palm Beach. You can now carry on with the socialite, who is a very nice family, whatever. Maybe you'll have another kid with her. You got fixed up with the socialite by your ex-wife, Vanessa. So you got the blessing of your children.
Gossip.
Well, we're living it. It's in Palm Beach.
Let me ask you this question. Would you want to be the ambassador to Greece? Is that a good job?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. So
Greece is a shithole. Have you ever been to Greece?
Yeah, there's a ton of money in Greece, and I got to tell you something.
It was a bankrupt country.
Did you see her house that she's going to have?
No.
It's magnificent.
Is it?
Yeah.
I guess it's nice.
It's like a little step below yours, but it's okay. It's a nice house, and you know what?
I was in Greece. The hotels were built in 1960.
The dining room seats like 40 people.
Does it?
Yeah, because it's all the dignitaries that she's going to have. If you want to do business in the United States and you're from Greece, you might have to kiss the ring of Kimberly Guilfoyle for the next 4 years. She's going to make a ton of money there, and how much money do you think the Trumps gave her?
Well, let me ask you this. If Donald Trump didn't become president, this would have been ugly for Don Trump Jr. He wouldn't. How would he get rid of this Kimberly Guilfoyle?
Well, they're not married. He would have just gotten rid of it, and it would have been ugly, and Donald Trump would have maybe been fighting for his life for jail at that time.
Yeah.
But I think Elon Musk said to Don Jr., I got this. It's a couple of little shekels. I can make it go.
Why do you think he's paying for everything? Why do you think
Because the guy made $100 billion $100 billion in a month. So if he said to Kimberly,
That's if he sells the stock. He didn't sell it yet.
so he gives her some whatever. Here's 10 million. Here's 10 million. You're an ambassador.
And True Social now, Donald Trump's worth 35 times 59%. He's worth $5 billion in True Social. It moves with Tesla.
I know.
As Tesla moves, and X moves, True Social moves.
But you know what? She did give up her TV show. She was on the 5, the number one watched cable show. She was on, and she gave that up. So she's entitled to money. I mean, the ambassadorship is just a cherry on top. But I mean, that's
right. So you think they gave her money too?
Money, ambassadorship, and you know what? The reality was, she could ask Demi Moore. How did Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher work out? It doesn't. It doesn't work out too often. You know, that's why you have people like Bill Belichick.
Well, you're on the third time. It's a charm.
It is. Well, Bill Belichick, speaking of how it works out, Bill Belichick, because I'm going to give you his situation, he just took a job at University of North Carolina, and everybody wants to know why. And it's because his girlfriend
is a college student there.
Yeah, 24.
Is she a college student
well,
there?
no, but she's going to take master classes there.
My
I mean,
God.
she's the same age as the students. She's 20, just turned 24.
He gets $10 million a year.
He's 72.
I know, he gets $10 million a year.
And he gets to live in a house. I mean, if he, say, became the coach of the Atlanta Falcons, I'm just giving you. Then what's she supposed to do? Get friendly with all the
cheerleaders,
all the players' wives, or this or that? No. Here, she can go out with all the student body. While he's doing his stuff, she's with her age for the next 10 years. He'll be 82. She'll be 34.
But isn't it really different for a guy that was a Super Bowl coach to be a coach of a college? I understand UNC is really, big-time school, but isn't it like the minor leagues for a guy that was a Super Bowl coach in the pros?
I think when you're a savant at coaching and you're one of the best, I think most savants lack something. He lacks some sort of social skill that he's hanging out with a 22-year-old at the time.
Right.
A 22-year-old, and he was 70. He broke up with his ex-girlfriend, who was 46 years old, for someone that was 20-some years younger than the 46-year-old. There's something off with a 72-year-old. Not that he's off. I mean, but it's like...
Yeah.
But I mean, he's willing to give he's changing his life for her to be happy, because that's what he cares about right now.
He's going to make $10 million a year. Now, what's the real fast? I don't know. What's the status of that team? Do they have a good quarterback? Do they have a good team? Do they have a good?
It's not a gut job, but with the portal system, you could turn it around quickly. So he thinks because he's there, there's going to be a lot of players that are going to come one and done, two and done, that he can bring people. He has NFL connections. He could get on the telephone with scouts and say, do me a favor, this guy's really the talent.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you want to make it to the NFL, why not go with him?
I agree with you. So
if you want to go on to the gossip type of thing, we can, like page 6, we can go right to P. Diddy.
Talk about P. Diddy. What's going on with P. Diddy?
Well, you have LeBron James just took a leave from the team of Los Angeles.
Right.
And, you have to think, people are, in the last couple of days are all saying that LeBron James was on record saying there's nothing like a Diddy party. And now people are asking him, when you make that comment and you're smiling and giggling, like saying there's nothing like it, they want to know, what about this Diddy party?
And I go on record, LeBron James doesn't stand for the national anthem. So months ago, 30 shows ago, I said, I don't like him. You got to stand up for the national anthem. Now, is he on video? They have him on video?
I don't know him enough to say like him, not like him. All I know is he's on record with P. Diddy, and I think that has to come out, that he's going to have to, if, there's tapes. If he's there, if Ashton Kutcher's there, it's just like he's never taken a leave of absence before. I know he's not playing that well right now, but there's a lot on your mind. When Jay-Z, like all of a sudden you're LeBron James, you're turning back and you're saying, all of a sudden Jay-Z is lawyering up. They're accusing him of rape.
So I have a great chapter in my book.
It wasn't big enough.
Yeah. I have a great chapter in my book. It's called Gone in 60 Seconds, and it's all about people like this. LeBron James, P. Diddy, he's in MDC Brooklyn, the worst prison in America now for 3 months already. I mean, you have this incredible career, and in 60 seconds, it's gone. LeBron could be gone. Ashton Kutcher could be gone. We know Ellen DeGeneres Degenerate already left. You know, she went to England.
Right.
I mean, it's scary.
It is. It's amazing how, you know, some of this is good. And by the way, it all comes down to one thing. If Hunter and all the people around, the innocent people, Barack Obama, everybody, if Hunter Biden just would have picked up his laptop, none of this would have happened. And I go on record that if I had a problem with my laptop, and I don't have anything on my computer, and I dropped it off on Thursday, and I got a phone call that said my computer's ready on Friday morning. I'm there Friday morning, and I have nothing on it. This guy had to be called months and months and told pick it up, and he had top secret stuff. He turned his dead brother's widow into a crack whore, and then slept with his sister and videotaped it.
But let me ask you this basic question. If your laptop breaks, you have your stuff downloaded or saved on your laptop?
I guess it's in the cloud.
So if your laptop breaks and a brand new laptop is whatever, you're working off of 5-year-old old technology and a new one's $900, are you taking it to a repair shop or are you just going to whatever Best Buys or whatever it's called and buying a new laptop?
Well, it's funny that you asked me because, you know...
why would you even bother
because
getting it repaired?
my laptop broke like 4 years ago, like it was just running slow. I didn't even think of taking it to a repair person. It's now in my closet. I don't get rid of them because you never know.
Yeah, of course.
So it's in my closet, and I just went and bought a new one.
Yeah.
Why am I fixing? And then the information he had on there with the big guy. He had the big guy. He had the pictures. He had him with the gun. He was making porn videos. I mean, everything he did, the amount of people he pulled down, you know. I mean, do you think Barack Obama, when Joe Biden said to Ukraine, if you don't fire the district attorney that's prosecuting my son, you don't get the $1 billion. You don't think Barack Obama knew that? Or do you think he's just...
Barack Obama had to be involved with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, as vice president, unilaterally cannot stop $1 billion from going to Ukraine without the president of the United States signing off on that. I mean, he can't do it.
So if the Bidens were making money, then Barack Obama was making money too.
I don't believe they made $20 million. I believe they made $1 billion, $200 million, $500 million. Nobody in that level of power steals $20 million.
I agree.
You can't. It's impossible. You got to steal 200, 500 million, $1 billion.
And they have all these offshore accounts, so it's there. And by the way, that part in blankets, it just covers everything.
And it covers Joe, right?
And it covers Joe.
Well, I think they were concerned. Joe was concerned that, you know, Hunter being a drug addict, and maybe that was his cocaine in the White House. And we
maybe? No, whose was it? I mean, really,
we got to get off of Hunter because our reels don't blow up with Hunter. It blows up about P. Diddy. But real fast on Hunter, you know, I don't believe that Joe felt that he could trust Hunter not to go on a bender or binder. What's it called when you go on a binge or a binger?
Yeah.
That he wouldn't go on
a
bender, and they'd shine the bright lights on him, and he wouldn't rat out his dad. I think Hunter would rat out.
They wouldn't need the bamboo to put under his fingertips?
No, I think he'd rat out his dad in a second.
So do you think Barack Obama's going to get a pardon?
He's got to. I think he has to.
If he gets a pardon, you don't think that looks bad?
I think it doesn't matter. He takes it.
Do you think Adam Schiff takes a pardon?
Absolutely.
Liz Cheney?
Yeah.
You think all these people are going to...
100%. I mean, what are they going to say? You gave me a pardon, I'm going to take it.
But don't you think that the country will then... It just makes Donald Trump look like he was right the whole time?
I don't think that Donald Trump can ever look right to half of this country. I think half of this country, no matter what Joe Biden does, Donald Trump's always going to be the evil enemy. You know, it's like this guy, you know, we're watching in real time. You know, this kid, the University of Pennsylvania kid that shot the United Healthcare executive and murdered him on the street for whatever reason. I don't know if they determined that. And we could talk about that for an hour, but I mean, it's kind of crazy that you see all these people on TV saying, I sort of kind of could justify the fact that he murdered that guy because, my cousin's kid died because of treatment wasn't available or paid for by the insurance company. Well, I agree with you, but I mean, who speaks those words? I mean, it's terrible that a child died because he wasn't covered by insurance. Yeah, it's awful, but do you go out and murder somebody over it? I don't think so. But it's insane, the public outcry. You have this Daniel Penny on one hand, he's a villain for saving all the people on the subway, and you have this vigilante or whatever you call this UOP kid that murders somebody, and he's a hero.
I'm going to make a bold.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm going to make a bold statement.
Go ahead.
They now have forensic evidence that they have the casings of the gun that match. They have his fingerprints there. They know he did it 100%. Here's my bold statement. He's going to get off. And the reason why he's going to get off is I was listening to a show last night, and there was a professor at University of Pennsylvania. And she basically put these words in his head. And she comes out with a comment afterwards. A professor at University of Pennsylvania, she said she has never been as proud as a professor as she was today after a person cold-blooded killed someone. So then you have to look at Penn and say, who are you hiring? Who are these people that you are hiring to brainwash these kids? So here's a kid. This is going to be their defense. Their defense is not going to be insanity. Their defense is going to be, I sent my kid to University of Pennsylvania. He was valedictorian of his class in high school, never had a problem. And these wackadoo professors, these far-left professors who were anti-Israel, pro-Palestine, demonstrating for the marches, all the far left, they brainwashed my kid.
Are you saying the guy gets off? How's he get off?
Takes one juror. Takes one juror.
But if he has fingerprints and...
Did O.J. Simpson get off?
Yeah.
Okay. It takes one juror to say it was University of Pennsylvania's fault. It was not this kid's fault. It was Penn's fault. Penn and their education system are brainwashing kids. All these super wealthy kids that are going to these schools were susceptible for brainwashing.
All right, so let's take it to another level.
It's Penn's fault.
Let's take it to another level, Govy. Assuming you're an executive, or there's this guy we're friendly with in Philadelphia. He just came out on Forbes' richest list or whatever the hell it is, and his picture's in the paper, and he's like going like this, and he's a landlord, and he has all these apartments, and all these other executives of these giant companies. I mean, is this a whole new industry of security personnel to protect people? I mean, because people are going to be angry. The roof leaks, or maybe they're denied health care coverage, or maybe their car doesn't work, or their
well, they got to change the laws. You can't target.
Car gets in an accident because the brake doesn't work.
You can't target. Right now, did you see in New York they're posting up other people in other companies with their faces on it, with targets on it? So, yeah, I think the person in Philadelphia that you're talking about, I think he has to step up some security. I think you're going to have to start prosecuting some of these people really harshly, like the guy from the Black Lives Matter that went up to Daniel Penny.
Crazy.
And when he said, you can't live in New York and we're going to come and get you, I think the first thing Garland should do is if you go in there, slap them in handcuffs, throw them in Rikers for a little bit that no one gets to see them for like 20 days, he might come out and change his mind a little bit. I think you have to start sending a message that that's not the way it is in the United States, but the security is going to have to come out there, and I do think they're going to blame University of Pennsylvania for this.
So now that you're a podcast superstar and you're not talking nicely about the Democratic Party, are you concerned for your safety?
No, I'm not.
Is that your security team out there? Is that your driver out there with the gun?
No. I'm fine because you know what? I can listen to both sides. I listen
that's
to
objective.
I listen to both sides of it. Look, I'm telling you, I would have said this kid is 100% guilty. Throw away the key. Give him the death penalty. But when you start listening to some of these professors and they control your grade, so like if you don't listen to them, you can get a C. You get a C to some of these kids. That's career. It can hurt their career. So you have a person that's controlling your grade who's brainwashing you. And by the way, the things that he yelled when he went into that when he was wearing his orange jumpsuit, that's the same comments that this professor was saying.
No, when I saw that video, they had 25 cops all around it. Why do they have so many cops? Aren't there other crimes happening that you need 25 cops to escort a skinny kid into a courthouse?
And by the way, there was a congressman whose term's up now, but he says finishing out in January, Bowman. He's a black
the fire alarm guy.
The fire alarm guy, black congressman. He starts off a comment, "Dear white people." I mean,
what an idiot.
So, but what do you think his job was before he was a congressman?
He was a fireman or
He was a teacher and then a principal.
Yeah,
so think about it. This is a guy teaching your kids who starts off a letter, "Dear white people." So I think we have to look at these professors who have tenure. I mean, I think that has to change. I mean, if you have a wackadoo, you got to be. They're not the Supreme Court. You can't just be able to collect money and have a whack job there.
Well, I guess the reason, and I don't know the reason for tenure much.
Boy, does University of Miami look good or what? I mean, I'm telling you, these Ivy League schools.
Or UNC. But where Bill Belichick's going.
UNC.
Or University of Texas or Texas A&M. But I think the reason that they have tenure is because some of the material they teach, they put their own slant on it. And they want the teachers to be artsful or whatever the word is. So they're afraid unless the teachers are protected in their speech, they'll get fired all the time. I'm assuming that's why they have tenure. I don't know. I mean, there's no other job in America that you have tenure.
This professor is protesting Israel and demonstrating with Palestine. She's okay with a person cold-blooded killing somebody on the streets.
Well, the View is that way,
right? And that's okay. But yet these are the. By the way, did you hear anybody talk about gun control?
No, because
gun control only works when it's the Republican doing the shooting.
Well, look at the election. It was almost 50-50. I mean, there's two sides to every issue. That's the way America is right now. There's two sides to every issue. And I think if I run as an independent in the next election, I have a shot.
How about the FBI guy who has 2 more years to go, and he finally had to say,
"You gotta quit."
They basically said we're replacing you. Do you want to stand in the corner for 2 years?
But this is what I want to talk about, and I want to ask America about this. You know, the whole election, I played the left side, you played the right side. Okay, I was a Democrat, you were a Republican. So, and I have a friend of mine who doesn't speak to me now, who does Fox News because of my outburst on the camera, our superstar podcast here in the world. But why is it...
She looks good, by the way.
She does. Why is it that within 24 hours... You literally know every single thing about this guy, or 48 hours. They have 1,000 videos all over the city of him. They have videos everywhere. They know where he went to school, when he took a shit, what he ate for breakfast, what he ate for lunch, and where they caught him. Why don't they know, oh, I shouldn't bang on the table, the shooter from Butler, Pennsylvania, you know nothing about this guy.
I got one better for you.
Why don't you know everything about this kid that shot the United Healthcare guy. The guy that shot Donald Trump ain't my team. But why don't we have all this information? Or they cremated him.
I got I got a better question for you, though.
Go ahead. What is it?
This kid that graduated valedictorian from his class, his parents own two country clubs. I'm not saying they're a member of 2 country clubs. They own 2 country clubs. They own nursing homes. They own a radio station. They are Baltimore royalty, this family. Now, if I had one of my kids that did anything as horrific as this, you don't think there would be people in the suburbs of Philadelphia that would say, that looks like little Govy up there? I mean, how is this guy in this neighborhood that everybody knew the family? His picture is everywhere. Not one phone call comes in and says, "Hey,
okay, my kid." If that was my kid, poo-poo a million
I would
times,
say that's little Cutty.
would you call the police and say, you know what, that's my neighbor's kid?
I wouldn't, but there would be a fringe.
Okay, you wouldn't?
I wouldn't, but there'd be a fringe person. I would. The only reason why I wouldn't is because I would think someone else would.
My neighbor calls when my trash can's not on my driveway, it's on the street. I mean, I don't understand that question. You're right. Why doesn't somebody call?
I mean, they're asking for if you see something, say something. And now here's a guy that literally, you know who it is.
Right.
He's going up to the other family members of all these country clubs. They know who this kid is. And no one helped.
It is kind of crazy that nobody ratted him out. Well,
I got football picks.
No, we're pouring to the end. Let's hear your picks. We're coming to the end of the season. Obviously, you want to talk about college being almost done. I mean, that last game, that Georgia game last week.
Alabama doesn't get in, so they're all upset now.
Yeah.
University of Miami gets
that was bad.
Ripped off. But, it's...
So what happens? I mean,
Now we have an Army-Navy game on Saturday other
Right.
than that. But now we're into the pros.
Okay.
So,
We're coming down. What game is this? This is game 12 or game
this is
13?
11, 12, 13. This is game 14.
14.
But they play 17 games now.
Right.
So tonight, because it's tonight's game, I like the Rams plus 2.5 over San Francisco. San Francisco is a beat-up team. I like the Bengals minus 5 over the Titans. I like Denver minus 4 over Indy. And I like Seattle plus 2.5 over Green Bay.
For the record, folks, Gavi's been on fire. His
Doing
picks,
great.
Yeah, his picks have been 3-1, 4-1.
Yeah.
Almost every. You had one bad week this whole year.
Yeah, doing.
I mean, you had an amazing time. But we do have, what do we have, another 10 minutes. I mean, we could talk about the fact that Donald Trump, nobody forced him, there is no federal law that forced him to do DEI cabinet. Donald Trump picked the best people that he wanted for his cabinet. And we could go through these people, but guess what? He picked 4 or 5 women.
They're diverse.
He picked an Indian guy. He picked a gay guy. And he picked them on merit, folks. He picked them because they were the best candidates, not because somebody said 2 from column A, 3 from column B.
You know what he also did? He united that where else can you have Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Larry Ellison's already on board.
Well, they're all scared.
Elon Musk, they're all at Mar-a-Lago, all there to say, how do we get along? And you know what? They saw the light now. They actually now know this is the right side to be on.
So let's, real fast, who do you think, most of them are going to get through because Donald Trump's going to use this.
Everyone's going to get through that he has now. Everyone.
Do you think so?
Everyone. Because they're already now threatened that there'll be a primary. Anybody who goes against it, they're taking notes. Elon Musk will back a primary, a person that they're going to have to run against, that they could lose. So they're going to either say to themselves, am I going to sit on the sword for not choosing Pete Hegseth? No, they're going to let Pete Hegseth go.
I have a technical question.
They want to stay in power forever.
Let's say Donald Trump has the hots for, Merrick Garland. He wants to lock Merrick Garland or pick any of the people, like Alvin Bragg or Letitia James or Fannie Willis. He wants to go
There's a lot, isn't there?
But how does Donald Trump communicate that to Pam Bondi or whoever is going to prosecute them? Or does he personally go up to Pam Bondi and say, that Fannie Willis, you find the good, or does he have a middle person? How does he communicate that message that he doesn't get impeached, that he doesn't get, somebody doesn't rat him out for doing that?
When there's a guy on second base and he wants to steal third base, how does that guy look at what does the manager do?
Signal.
Does he touch his nose?
Yeah,
he says to Pam Bondi, when I touch my nose and wiggle my ear, that means that person. I mean, they'll come up with a lot of different...
But my question to you is, and I don't know...
And I think they've already discussed it.
I don't know the law, and since you went to Harvard, maybe you know the law. Is he allowed to communicate this to Pam Bondi before both of them are official U.S. employees?
Yeah.
I mean, right now, both of them are designees. I mean, they don't work for the federal government. They can't be impeached. But can he say to her right now, Guess what, Pam? Fannie Willis, you get her Fannie. Really good.
Well, he's allowed when he's interviewing him, he could say, let me tell you my view on how I was treated.
Right.
I'm just curious to know if I'm going to appoint you, what's your view?
Right.
Now, if their view is I'm completely opposite, they would say, Pam, it was nice knowing you. Good luck to you. And I'll go to the next one. So this time, there will be no Jeff Sessions. There will be no Bill Barr this time. It's going to be loyalty, and it's going to be executed. This guy Patel is going to do what he's going to do to the FBI. You're going to turn around and say, what was Ray doing the whole time? I mean, you're going to...
I think it's too big. It's too big to bust. I mean, the culture's there. It's too gigantic. I don't know how you turn it upside down and inside out. I mean, it's just maybe you could shake up a couple layers, but you're not going to get rid of everything.
No, but it's going to be a big cleaning house, and they're going to try to set it up that Vance goes from there.
Do you think the period of time between the election and January 20th is too big of a span? It's almost like Donald Trump's the president right now, and Joe Biden's
Crazy.
asleep. Yeah, all this shit's happening, and I shouldn't curse. All this stuff is happening in the world. The world is burning up, and you have a guy asleep, and you have a guy meeting people in the cathedral there, all the people. I mean, Vlad's coming. Vlad doesn't even wear a suit. I mean, Vlad, you got to go to Brioni or Keaton and buy yourself a suit. You stole a couple billion, go buy a suit.
More than a couple billion. But, it's interesting because we've never been in a time before where a president-elect is actually running the country. I think right now the whole country is looking at Joe Biden where they're seeing him now, and he's not getting the protection that he did from the media and everybody else. And I think they're sitting around saying, wait a second. This was the guy 5 months ago you were telling us was going to lead us for 4 more years. I mean...
That's why JPK or whatever her name is should have resigned that day.
Look what they
She lied about that, too.
The country. That is the number one thing you're voting for, is to protect our country and to protect the world. And they were going to throw this guy, Joe Biden, to go for 4 more years? Unbelievable.
Crazy. All right, folks. I'm available for motivational speaking. I'll tell you my fee if you want to know
They can't buy that book, though, to stop a bullet. It's not thick enough. So it's a good read.
Right.
It's a good read.
Sold 27, I think 20, as of a couple of days ago, it was 27,000 copies, which is a lot.
I saw it in the bookstore.
Yeah. It's in all the bookstores. Yeah. And my royalty is like 5 cents a book, so I'm starting to get somewhere.
There's a chapter in there on me.
There is. It's called The Podcast, and it's all about Govy.
There we go.
All right, and a funny story. I have all my Rochester Buffalo Bills fans are having a big party Sunday night at 4 o'clock to watch the Buffalo Bills. And I guess it's the Detroit Lions they play. Yeah. So anyway, they only want to know if I'm bringing Govy as my guest. They want Govy there.
And by the way, you know who represents D. Bethune watches? Jess Pagula, and her dad owns the Buffalo Bills, so we're a Buffalo Bills fan.
All right, folks. It's 57 degrees down here in Delray Beach, Florida. Govy's got
Go
the
Knicks,
thick,
baby. Go
he's
Knicks.
got the thick sweatshirt on. I have the sweater on. It's cold. Have a great week.
See you next week.